Hello, everyone. Hooray. Okay, get settled. We need soul nourishment right now more than ever. So I want to invite you to take a couple of minutes. I'm here with Morningstar today. We're talking embodiment. We're talking movement medicine and bliss and grounded transformation. I'm so excited to be here with you, beautiful. Can't believe it's been 10 years since I walked into your Brisbane 5 Rhythms class.
Wow.
And what a crazy 10 years it's been. I know, right? It's such an honor to be here with you today. Thank you so much for taking this time with me.
Oh, sweetheart, thank you. It's so great to be here with you. Thank you for inviting this conversation. Something that's really dear to my heart, dear to my life, intrinsic part of my life. And yeah, and for bringing that opportunity to articulate it. And yeah, here's to an extraordinary 10 years journey, and which keeps deepening, intensifying, beautifying, all of the above.
It so does, right? And I feel like, you know, I've been on such a crazy journey over the last 10 years myself, and I've been working in the personal development space for a lot of that time, and everything just keeps leading me back to embodiment, which is why when I learned about what you were doing this year, we'll talk about that more in a little bit, obviously, with the Embodicy journey, I needed to connect with you because I really understand now of all of the different paths and modalities that I've taken, how important this embodiment piece is in a time where everything's accelerating. We can't actually keep track of it with our minds anymore. And I really loved what you said last time we spoke about this is medicine for the times. What we're needing to open up to the world right now is this space for people to connect with this essential medicine for us to be able to find our way through the changes that are taking place and the uncertainty. And embodiment is such a key piece in that. So I'm really excited to hear a bit about your experience with this. I kind of want to dive straight in if you're good with that.
Let's
I have
do it.
questions for you. I know I really want to hear what's here for you. I'm just hang on, sorry. There we go. I have written some notes so that I don't go off on crazy rants. So gorgeous. Embodiment has become a bit of a buzzword, and I think there's a really good reason for that. Like the way you see it, why is embodiment so important?
Yeah, it certainly has become a bit of a buzzword, and sometimes that's a great thing because it's bringing awareness to what we need to bring awareness to. I say embodiment is the new enlightenment. That there more and more we're needing to bring our awareness to the body and to ground ourselves in the body, because more and more we're becoming I would say, I used this word the other day, disenfranchised from the body. You know, there's such a big disconnect that seems to be increasingly widening, especially as we are becoming more involved with our technologies, our devices, our screens, especially on a global level where we're becoming more disconnected from each other, in a physical sense, disconnected from the earth in a physical sense. So yeah, bringing our, I mean, we're here in this realm, in this physical realm on planet Earth, to have a physical experience, to have a human experience in a human physical body. And so the more practices that we can find to bring us back into that body and out of the head and the thinking mind, where all the energy seems to be so predominantly focused here. I read a beautiful quote last night by somebody whose Instagram account I ended up on, and I don't remember her name, sadly, but it was something like, there's a whole world below the head. And I love that. There's actually a whole universe below the head, you know, when we bring ourselves down into that realm of the body. And yeah, just It's so crucial for these times. It's so crucial for these times.
It's so true, beautiful. I find that, you know, it's like there's more and more and more in this world. So much of this world is about there being more and more and more stimulation and more stuff and more ideas. And yet everywhere that I'm looking, there's less and less fulfillment in people. And that's because that doesn't take place in this control center, really, does it? Like, that experience of being fulfilled happens through the body. And that experience of being guided and safe, like even that experience of being safe happens through the body. And I think like even in the personal development space and the spiritual world, there's still a lot of focus on the mental. And I'm always meeting women who are just, again, they're doing more and more, but they're not getting that experience of being connected to themselves in that way. And I think that's where movement medicine in particular and the kind of work that you do, you know, in my view, is some of the most essential work on this planet right now. Because in order for us to connect with our power and find that place of fulfillment in our bodies, it's about learning to find safety in our bodies, right? Like, I know that's been a big part of my journey through movement medicine, has been finding safety in my body, and dancing with you in particular. So I want to know, actually, like, your journey with movement medicine. What are some of the things that have really come out of it for you, beautiful, that have helped support really lasting change in your life through this practice?
Well, obviously, I mean, it's changed my life profoundly. I just wanted to touch back on those points that you were talking about, safety and empowerment in the body. And this is something that that feels really important to me as well. Like, we, as embodied humans, we are so much more powerful. As disembodied humans, we're so disempowered. And I feel that as this is kind of I was going to say as this movement, but let's say lack of movement, towards separation from the body and up into the head, we're actually less powerful. We're actually more able to be manipulated and controlled. So I feel that this piece of bringing us down into the body is a really important part of our personal empowerment, our self-empowerment. And yeah, like to feel safe there. Absolutely. So regarding my journey, oh my goodness. This practice, I mean, and I will say specifically 5 rhythms, but of course any movement practices, any embodiment practices are going to help with this, but specifically this is my medicine. And Gabrielle Roth was my teacher, and I had many teachers that reminded me and brought me back to my feet, actually, to my feet, and in that landing my whole body into my feet and into my connection with the earth provided a safe place for me to be. I didn't want to be. I spent most of my life not wanting to be on this planet, feeling really uncomfortable, really awkward, really like heavy, like there was somehow I didn't belong here, that I come from the stars and from the air realms, and this is where I felt most comfortable, and to be here on planet Earth was certainly not somewhere I felt good about being. And so yeah, there was a big disconnect between myself and my body and myself and this earth and my walk here on this earth. So this practice of bringing my awareness back to my feet again and again and again and again, and feeling and listening into the body and expressing whatever was going on in the madness of my mind or in the wild terrains of my heart through the body, was what brought me back to this place of being in love with being alive right now on this planet. For all of the chaos and all of the craziness and all of the uncertainty, that this is what I'm born into, and this is what I'm here for. And it's beautiful, and it's terrifying, and it's extraordinary and amazing, and like all the things, it's all the things. but to have that sense of really belonging here in my body on this earth is a profound piece that came through from just continually showing up and showing up and showing up, to practice the practice, to actually move my body, feel my body, feel the density, the weight, the gravity, the bones, the blood, like really on a physical, visceral level, this body. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's really, I could say, you know, it sounds very cliched, but I could really say it saved my life, because I had moments in my life when I was, you know, kind of dark moments when I was really wanting to plot my way out of here. You know, make a plan of how to exit stage left in the cleanest, most least impacting way possible. But yeah, this just keeping on showing up to dance with all of the pain of that, and the discomfort, and the anxiety, and the terror, and the grief, and all of those sorts of things, and just continually finding the way to keep moving it, just keep moving, stay here, take the next breath, take the next step, just the little movement, even if it's just tiny little, how can I find that way? And yeah, so it's saved my life.
Wow, beautiful. I've never actually heard that story before, and I really feel you deeply as I hear you share that. That sense of belonging, you know, it can be so elusive, particularly for those people who, you know, don't feel like they belong here. They don't belong in the world that was. We're creating something new, and it's about finding the ways to keep taking those little steps and keep moving through it. It's such an important medicine. It's such a potent time to be alive on this planet right now, isn't it? And
yeah. And we need to be in the body. We need to be in this body as you know, yeah, standing up for ourselves and each other, standing up for our humanity, standing up for our planet, for our ecosystems, for our forests, but all, you know, just standing up and being present and saying, I'm here and I'm alive, and it's all worth it.
It's all worth it. And what you said before about us being in our bodies is being in our power. Like, we can't be in our power if we're not in our bodies. And I think for a lot of history, it's been very unsafe for people to attempt to step into their power. But we're at a time on Earth now where it's actually unsafe for us not to be in our power. Like, this is essential. This isn't luxury work anymore. Is that right? Like, it's essential, foundational. And I think that's why, you know, I've got so much going on in my world, but it felt so necessary to take this journey with you this year. I want you to talk to us about Embodiment, because I'm so psyched for this journey with you this year. What does Embodiment give people? Like, what is the experience that you're creating here?
So this body of work is putting a particular lens on the 5 rhythms that creates transformation and change in our lives. It started out being called Evolve, and then it went through various evolutions just in the creative process of bringing this about and what it was. And it started off as a 3-part series, and then it, you know, felt logical for it to be a 5-part series. And yeah, so the 5 parts of that came through were embody, being the whole point, as Gabrielle Roth, who created this body of work. I love that, you know, to refer to it as a body of work. The whole point is embodiment. So then engage, of how we engage with the world and how we show up for ourselves and life. Empty, which is bringing the awareness to how much we just need to actually let go, release all of the dross, release anything that's not relevant anymore, release anything that's old paradigm through the body, like we do it through the expression of movement, but also how we do that in our lives off the dance floor. And then emerge is the last one, bringing ourselves into this, like into our gloriousness, into our sovereignty, into our shining expression of ourselves, into our true unique expression of ourselves into the world. And then evolve finally that kind of completing the full circle of accessing how, first of all, what that even means. And it's a piece that stumps me every time. I've got this beautiful quote, and I shared this with this insight with my group last year. So that the words are: change itself is changing. The process of evolution itself is evolving. There is a meta-evolution, a meta-change that is taking place. And in that process, what you see is actually an increasing contrast between change and the eternal or unchanging. And that's by someone by the name of Yasuhiko Kimura, Japanese philosopher. And it's like, I have read that quote again and again and again, and it's like, and I still don't understand it with my logical thinking mind, but there's something in there that really resonates with my being. And so it's expressing the inexpressible. But yeah, this divide, I guess, or this expansion between what is changing and what is unchanging within our own selves. You know, that part of ourselves which is in constant flux, in constant change, and that which is never changing, which is eternal. And this, to explore this through movement, I find super fascinating. So that's kind of the crux of the entire thing, is coming to that place, but through a whole journey.
That's so fascinating, beautiful. I really resonate with that, because I feel like, and I encounter this in my work all the time as well, it's like the old approach to transformation isn't working like it used to for people. Because life is so demanding. And you know, who was it, Einstein, that said you can't solve a problem with the same thinking that created it. And I feel like you and I really would agree and resonate with this, in that, you know, the healing power of pleasure, the healing power of bliss, and accessing that through the body, you know, it's like it's recreating the fabric of our experiences, as opposed to having to pull out every single thread. You know, I really find that when I do this kind of practice, and whenever I've danced with you, it's like, you know, I could have taken 3 weeks to work through that stuff mentally, to create that kind of change in my life, trying to do it one linear thread at a time. But through this connection to the body, and through the body's wisdom and the body's intelligence, and the way that you facilitate, that's the experience that I've always had, has been being reminded of my body's wisdom and my body's intelligence, and how effortless the process of change can become when we surrender to these natural processes, as opposed to trying to like break it all down and control it and micromanage it, which this world is very good at. And I feel like what you're bringing here very much is the medicine of the times, because we're able to affect such profound change in a way that's nourishing. It's not about cracking the whip anymore, right? This is something that I've really wanted to talk to you about as well, is like the shift from this really like crack the whip, you've got to do better approach to transformation, to an approach to transformation that is nourishment based, and that is love based, and that is body based. And when you do empty out, when you were speaking before about that, I'm really excited for that part of this journey actually, is when you empty out, you don't then have to push through. You rise up naturally because you're not carrying all this extra weight.
Absolutely.
And we need to rise right now. That's so much of that is what I feel this is about as well. But yeah, I'm really loving this exploration with you. I feel like I would love to know finally before we wrap up, because time has gone very quickly. I'd really love to know before we wrap up, for the people who are feeling the call but might not have connected with this work previously, or maybe they're, you know, being introduced to you or to 5 Rhythms for the first time, what would their next step be to explore whether this is right for them this year?
So, well, the first thing would be just to get directly in touch with me and we can have a conversation. If you're living in Brisbane, you can come to one of my open dances. There's one tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow. I don't know when we're going to air this, but so backtrack. Just get in contact with me is the best. And if we can line up a dance for you between now and then, there are, I mean, right now there's only 4 spaces left for this journey, which is super exciting. I've done very little kind of on the promotion front, but just organically, how many people are actually called to this deeper dive, this level of commitment, this level of showing up for a whole year, which is something that just was something I really felt important to touch on, that the kind of around this being about lasting change, when we really show up with the intention to continue in a process for a whole year. So for anyone that isn't clear, there's 5 weekend in-person modules that we'll be dancing together, full weekend of movement and process. There's 5 online modules, and then there's 5 sacred tasks. So we'll be working together, you know, there'll be kind of like the homework section, and then connected in through a private Facebook group together. So that process is really continuing and deepening, and a big piece in there is about accountability. You know, like when we go, yeah, I'm going to be in this group and in this process and in this journey for 1 year, and the different processes that are being required of us brings that accountability as well. Like if we all have this, I was saying, it's not like a New Year's resolution, it's a New Year's revolution, because it's really, and revolution as in R-evolution. So this feels like a really important piece. Like we're all requiring that level of accountability, and having a sacred container to call us up for that. So if you haven't danced 5 Rhythms before, it's no problem at all. We're going to be we're always coming back to the basics. It's great if you can get in a dance with me beforehand, but it's also, if you're just called, if you're just like, yes, then be in touch, because I'm all for the big yes. And there are people who have never danced this practice, or they've like maybe done 1 or 2 classes with me, and there are people who've been dancing for years and years and years. So it really meets us all where we are, and we all bring our own uniqueness and our own gifts and challenges into this cauldron of alchemy.
I love that. Cauldron of alchemy. And it is, the longer process is so valuable. My life really changed when I started to access my willingness to commit to myself in that way. It's easy to deprioritize yourself when things get busy, and so committing in advance is such a valuable thing in that way. And I know you have payment plans and that kind of thing too, if that's an obstacle for people, but I'm so grateful that you're offering this beautiful. I'm so glad that we've been able to have this exploration, and that I'm going to get to experience this dance with you this year. And the dance of life. I find the more I learn to trust myself on the dance floor, the more I trust myself in the dance of life. And I think we need that more than ever right now.
More than ever, really. And to take those opportunities to come together and dance in connection with each other is so important right now. And the fact that we can, you know, is here where we are in this part of the world, you know, it's I think something to really make the most of. Yeah,
I really feel that. There is power in numbers.
And power and connection, you know, how important it is, how we need each other, and how when we create community together, then we, you know, just to be there for each other and to support each other. I mean, last year I birthed this program last year, having no idea of what 2020 was going to involve us, you know, none of us did. And how, yeah, just what a container this group was. Obviously we did more online. We still had 5 in-person modules, which was extraordinary. We, you know, we just had to kind of move things, shuffle things around a little bit. But we spent a lot more time online together, and just how much of a support that ended up being for everyone going through their own individual and collective processes and the challenges around that. So yeah, just having community, having a circle is a great, really, really great gift.
Such an essential and sacred experience.
And so whether it's through this or whether it's, you know, whether you're drawn to the embodicy work or not, I really encourage anyone who's watching this to find some sort of community that you can connect with, whether it's online, if it's in person, even better. But just find that circle, those people that you can come together with and share and support and be supported by as we move through these fascinatingly challenging times.
I love it. Thank you so much, beautiful. It's been an absolute pleasure. We'll make sure we put all of the details with this video too. So grateful that you're opening this incredible gateway to transformation and bliss and power and magic and belonging. We need it so dearly in the world right now. So thank you so very, very, very much.
Total pleasure. Total pleasure. Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm so excited just to bringing, like, it, you know, that it's just moving out through me, you know, just this particular expression of the universe finding its way through me in this way, and I feel honored, actually, cliched as that might seem. I feel so honored to be bringing this element of this work through to share.
So beautiful. I can't wait to see you on the dance
journey.
Yeah, come the
beauty.
Oh, yeah.
We start on the 27th of February for that's our launch. So yeah, or we basically start as soon as the container's full and off we go.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Make sure you reach out to Honor if you want more info on this. I hope this has been nourishing for you today, loves. Thank you for joining us. And so much love. Yeah. Thank you, Honor Gorgeous. Bye.
Bye, darling.